Top of the top. Grand Rising. Wake y'all asses up. Yeah. If I gotta be out in these streets, you gotta be out here with me. Wake y'all asses up, man. We outside. We live. You see, I'm live in the hood. You know what I mean? This is my neighborhood, born and raised. Wouldn't change it for anything in the world. But you guys are here with me. And I appreciate that. You feel me? Yeah, man. But in all seriousness, man, I hope everybody had a good one. I know I said I was gonna come on last night, but I linked up with my big bro. You know what I'm saying? Had a conversation, but you know, it is what it is. You know, but we here now. I'm here right now. I'm heading to Queens, and while I'm taking this drive, I say, yo, why not have a conversation with the people? You feel me? People need to hear the God-given truth, man. So I remember when I was, studying, yo, this man named Paul, never walked with Jesus a day in his life. Never walked with Jesus in the day in his life. And when you read the book of Acts, he was also persecuting anybody that was following the ways of Jesus. Now, you know the saying go, you know what I'm saying, once a liar, always a liar, once a murderer, always a murderer. You can't take that away from somebody. Right? I remember those sayings. And as I started reading more about this Paul, I started to see that he was more and more contradictional or going against all the teachings that Jesus stood for. So when Jesus was alive, he was talking about, healing and a man should be, shouldn't commit adultery, shouldn't be looking upon other people. Paul, on the other hand, was teaching the total opposite, guys. You understand? This nigga Paul was telling people to literally not get married, not find somebody, and he was giving the false hope. I told you guys, Paul is the first pope. A lot of you guys don't see that, but Paul is the first pope. If you see the doctrine of Paul and you see what the pope be teaching, it's the same exact thing, bro. Paul is the first pope. I've been saying this for years. Nobody listens. Everybody thinks that the pope is whoever, is in that position, like John Paul or whoever. But nah, Paul is the original pope, man. Read it carefully. Take your time out and study it. Dissect it. You know what I'm saying? Don't dilute it. Don't dilute it. Don't water it down. Dissect it. Take all the poison for what it is. Dissect it and see. And you're gonna see without a shadow of a doubt that Paul is literally, and I repeat, is literally the Pope. You understand? And the Pope goes against everything that the so-called Jesus of the Bible speaks of. Right? And that this what leads me to conclude that the mass majority of Christians, like those that's claiming Christianity, you guys are just following the understanding of Paul. You guys are what they call it, the Paulinians. That's what you guys are. You guys are not followers of Christ. You guys are followers and obedience to Paul. Paul is the ones that bring forth all this, having faith conversation. You know what I'm saying? Jesus wasn't talking about faith. Jesus was talking about being meek. Jesus was talking about being humble. Jesus was talking about keeping the commandments. Jesus was talking about, bringing forth the sword. Paul, on the other hand, Paul was giving you the different understanding. Paul was telling you got to have faith. Paul was telling you that you're not subject to the law. Paul was telling you that, you just got to, death will not come to those that believe. Paul was giving you that teachings. Paul was saying neither nor Jew nor Greek. It was Paul telling you these things. And when you see today's churches and you see today's followers and you see today's believers, these are the things that they believe in. They don't believe in the Jesus teachings, because if they did, you understand, if they did, the world and the concept of society would not be in this condition. You understand? But it's not. People don't understand what Paul is here to do. I had a sister on Facebook post something from First Corinthians, and I said, do you know that Paul never walked with Christ, right? You know, he never, like never ever walked with Christ. You guys go ahead and believe those stories when niggas be having visions. So basically, this man is making claims based on visions. Who else has that concept? Think about that. Paul has a vision and all of a sudden became the religious instructor for Christians, right? Muhammad had a vision. Now he became the religious instructor for Allah. You understand? Who else had a vision? Jacob had a vision. Abel, all these people having visions. Even in the 21st century, you had what's this guy's name? William S. Crowdy. He had a vision. Everybody's having visions, and then from that vision, they're proclaiming to be something. Now, if I was to have a vision in today's times, if I was to have vision in today's times, let's just say I had a vision right now, and I told you guys that I had a vision, you guys would have took me as being nuts. If I said I had a vision and the vision said that we supposed to do this, if I had a vision right now and I stood before you guys and I said, none of you guys will taste death because the second coming will be tomorrow or next month or next week or next year, you guys would have looked at me like I was absurd. Like, yo, this nigga crazy. Who is this guy? You understand? Who is this guy? And these are the things that we be doing. These are the things that we be doing as individuals. Oh man, my bad, guys. I just seen a police just literally just break the law because he's a cop, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Like, things like that really be pissing me off, man. Like, this is what's wrong with society. There's no accountability, bro. It's all about prestige and titles and the position that you're in. Because I am a cop, I can do whatever I want. Because I'm making money, I can do whatever I want. That's why P. Diddy did what he do. That's why all these celebrities do what they do. Because there's no, there's nothing. Everybody feels self-entitled. I'm entitled to do this because of who I am. And that shit is crazy, bro. And it pisses me off because we got we got civilians, and these people are bare mortals just like everybody else. And they use these titles to feel superior. In reality, bro, you're not superior. Some of these dudes are soft, man. I'm telling you, man. These dudes are soft, bro. Some of these dudes are soft, man. Can't throw it, can't take it. Pause. And it pisses me off when I see the violation. You know what I'm saying? And when you speak on it, or you even could get in trouble for recording it, bro. You get in trouble for recording police officers breaking the law, bro. It's crazy in the times that we're living in. And I'm sure you guys are seeing it because you see me driving. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, back to the Paulinian, man. If that was me saying these things to you right now, bro, you guys would have looked at me like I was crazy. You guys also know that Paul, out of all the so-called disciples, was the only one that had access. That nigga was able to travel everywhere. That nigga went up, north, down, south, west. That man went everywhere as he pleased. And he was bringing forth not the doctrine of Christ. That man was bringing forth the doctrine of Constantine, bro. Y'all, like I said, you guys are really not reading the story. The man was bringing forth the gospel of Constantine. Paul was not bringing forth the gospel of Christ. How can you bring the gospel of Christ when you never sat with him? You never asked him what the end times will be. You never did nothing. You didn't break no bread with him. You ain't healed with him. And all of a sudden now he's the most prestige writer in the Bible. He got more writings in the Bible than anybody else, bro. Nobody asked that question. How he got more writings than James? How he got more writings than John? How he got more writings than anybody, those individuals who stood with him? You know how? Because Paul is a Roman emperor. He was a Roman what they call this, the emperor's philosophist. Forgot the word, but that's what he was, and his job was to rewrite the understanding. He was Constantine's baby. These are workers of Constantine. I mean, come on, guys. You guys see this? I mean, come on. I can't be the one that's breaking this down to you. You guys know what's saying. You guys know what I'm saying to be factual. You understand? That man never once, and I repeat, never once walked with Jesus. So if he never walked with Jesus, how are we now holding him up to this high regard? How? That doesn't even make sense. That's an oxymoron, bro. You got to be absurd. A man never walked with Jesus a day in his life, and voila, out of nowhere, this man is the the authority of the New Testament. That man got more say and more positions and more writings than Jesus himself. Matthew's, Luke, and all of that, those are supposed accounts of evidence of them being present with so-called Jesus. Paul never been there, but that nigga got Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. That nigga got the book of Romans. That man got the book of Hebrews. They're like, nobody knows where the book of Hebrews was written from. Like, nah, my nigga, you know where it's written from. It was written from Paul. What? All these writings. Never walk with this Savior. All these writings. Why? And why did the churches and the Council of Nicaea, why did they allow all these writings? Because Paul was put there to push the Roman agenda. Paul tells you to obey your master, be subjected. Paul tells you, don't be this, don't be a murderer, don't do, etc., etc. Meanwhile, his bosses was into all of that, was into homosexuality, was very feminine, was the whole shebang. And nobody don't pay attention to that. And that's for a reason. It's because Paul is a Roman agent. And when I told the fellow sister that, she didn't give no reply because she knows. Everybody knows, man. Everybody knows. But when you do know, see, when you are a sheep, a sheep is lost. You know what I'm saying? When you somebody that don't have common sense, don't have understanding of just life, and don't know how to put things together and say, hold on, sir, this don't make no sense, fam. When you're not in that space, these people's gonna walk all over you. They'll use that book to walk all over you. I'm talking about up, down, around the corner, left, right. They're gonna use it to walk all over you. But the minute you have some level of consciousness and you have some understanding and you like, nah, bro, what does this mean right here? Or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of a sudden, they say it's two options. They're gonna tell you that you're under a demon, you're under a spell, or they're just gonna leave you alone. And in my case, they got no choice but to leave me alone because I've done the studies. I've read the books. I read the books multiple times. I taught this, whether it was in the congregation or whether it was in my own congregation within my household. Taught it to my children, taught it to my mother. I used to give Bible classes. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep things afloat. But the more and more I was invested into it, the more and more the ancestors was like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. It's not. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. And I started feeling that. And when I started feeling that, I said, you know what? Maybe I need to figure out what was going on. And then for me trying to figure out what was going on, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother Garvey. You know what I'm saying? He brought forth this understanding that the Bible was a story that took place in Africa. And I really believe that. And you know, I went through the studies, I did what I was supposed to do. You feel me? I went to the studies, and it was making sense at the time. Like, oh, word, damn, son, they took this story out of Africa, et cetera, et cetera. And then I started speaking to the African people. So when I started speaking to the El Kebula, I'm talking about those that's descended from there, it was a whole different story. It was like, nah, bro, nah. This is a Bible. This is supposed to be a book, a prophetic book, meaning future and present. Why isn't the Benin Kingdom in there? If the people that was sent to the shores of America and the Caribbean and South America, if these shores was taken from, if they was taken from the West and they was taken to those areas should be, you know, commandment keeping, etc., etc., and nobody knew what that was. And then when I started asking the questions, or when I started finding out that monotheism was European, that they took from the Egyptians, that one single God concept came from the Egyptians, and the man, and I forgot the Egyptian pharaoh that made it into a decree that forced everybody to accept one God. So prior to that, everybody had multiple gods. So basically, when the earth was just fine, when the kingdoms was just fine, when there was no war and there was no controversy, there was nothing, it was multiple gods. The minute the multiple gods was removed, all chaos came to Africa. Egypt fell. People not even paying attention. Egypt fell. Egypt still falling. Egypt fell. Everything was going downhill from there. So when I started, digging deeper, and I started asking these questions, and I started saying, "Hey, bro, this is not adding up. What's this about? You're saying one thing, but the people are saying another thing. Who should I believe?" I was told that even our people is being deceived. I said, yeah, but why makes you think that the deception is from everything outside of the Roman Catholic ideology? Because that's where the Bible is. You can't be a Bible believer and not be a Christian, bro. The Bible is to justify Christianity. That's it. That's it. That's it. And if you believe in that and you following that and you using Paul's teachings and Paul's writings and Paul anything, you are a full-fledged Christian. And when I brought that to the table and I said, yo, our ancestors wasn't doing this, aren't we subject to find out what our ancestors was doing? I was told you're not supposed to do that. I was told you'll be a fool if you do that. I was told that if you go through certain doors that, you know what I'm saying, you might end up falling into a demonic trap. I said, a demonic trap? I said, so you believe that the things that black people was doing, African people was doing, you believe that to be evil? Who gave you this mental ideology? Who gave you this mindset? Because how are we trying to find out who we are, but we got to find who we are based on the paralysis of Euro-Christian ideology. And everybody saying, no, it's not Euro-Christian ideology, they took it from us. I'm like, okay, cool. If they took it from us, you must prove and show me how they took it. You can't tell me that they took it from the scrolls and nobody seen the scrolls. You feel me? Like, you gotta show me the scrolls, pimp. You gotta show me some writings. Something gotta be shown. You can't tell me that, this was taken and that was removed and this was interjected. I'm like, in order for you to come to such conclusion, you must first see the actual sources. You must first touch the actual material. Something. Proofread the material. Nobody ain't done nothing. Everything is based on what somebody is saying, bro. And then when I said, nah, that's not enough for me to denounce my El Kebulan. That's not enough for me to denounce being an African and seeking African customs and culture. That's not enough. And from that moment on, everything went downhill from there. And that's for you, sis. So when you ask why Why did I leave the group? That's part of the reason. Because I would not denounce, I would not denounce my Africanness, my El Capulaness. I would not denounce that. Like, okay, if this is what's causing damage and friction, then look, check this out. This is what we're gonna do. You understand? We're gonna go through these doors. We're gonna walk through it, and if it's not what it is, we're gonna walk right out. See, I have trust and confidence into my ancestors. I'm not worrying about, being possessed or being. I'm not worrying about that. Those things only come for those that operate in a state of fear. When you operate in a state of control, the universe must honor that, and that's where I'm at. And it's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's look into our ideology. You understand? Let's look into our ideology and study our people again. And it's like, yo, bro, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose? There's nothing for us to lose, but everything to gain, bro. We have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So let's go after the gains. Let's go after the understanding. Let's go after who we are. Let's find out who we are. Because what we're being told is not it, bro. It's not it. It's not it. You know what I'm saying? We got our people still under the Paulinian foundation. Where I'm not I'm not a European. Paul wasn't black. Paul wasn't none of us. I don't care what anybody's telling me. We don't want to hear none of that, bro. Paul wasn't black. Roman wasn't black. Come on, man. Wake your ass up. The fuck? Early in the AM, bro. And what are you doing? You on your phone? It's too early to be on your phone, pimp. Wake your ass up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that Paulinian teaching is not of us. It's confusing for a reason. Because there's no confusion. The Paulinian teachings is just a man removing the foundation of what Christ was and bringing forth a Roman understanding about it. That's what it was. His job was to convert you guys into Roman ideology. And you guys have been converted. You guys believe it. You guys stand on it. And if it's not that, you don't want it. You understand? That's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I know it's a tough, you know what I'm saying? I know it's a tough pill to digest, but hey, you gotta understand the process. This is nothing. It has nothing to do with salvation. I told you guys, this is all about mind control, manipulation, division, head-on spiritual collision. I told you guys this. You can see by the characteristics of those. Anybody that's fully invested into the Bible, look at their characteristics. They follow they foundation of the Paulinian doctrine. Just look at just look. Oh, you must separate yourself from those. Oh, you cannot associate with such and such. That's Paulinian, bro. Paulinian doctrine. That's what that is. And I'm not a Paulinian, man. I'm not a Paulinian from the hood. I stand for the hood. I keep the moral principles of the hood, right? Which is, we respect all people. We respect all men. Like I tell everybody, where I come from, I don't get mad based on words. So I don't get mad based on opinions and assumptions. The only way you can get me to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? You try to put your hands on me. You try to put nonsense on my name. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you're gonna get a level of That's the only way you're gonna get a level of something out of me is when you do that. Outside of that, bro, come on, man. You ain't touch my moms. You ain't violate my children. You ain't you know try to make a move on my wives. You know what I'm saying? It's so good, bro. So good. And it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. And yo, I wanna address something, man. Yo, listen. This Hebrew nonsense, man. Like this shit is literally, it's comical, bro. This shit is a joke. This shit is not about anything but misleading, misguiding, and trying to get as much jail niggas, so-called gangsters, to follow this nonsense. Yo, bro, the Hebrew organization is literally like the five percenters, bro. It's literally like the five percenters, bro. And for those that don't know what the five percenters is, man, the five percenters is like a small fraction of Islam, and they create their own understanding. And the five percenters, they God, this body, this and all, and supreme mathematics and all this bullshit. Bro, you know what I'm saying? And all these niggas is, you know what I'm saying, came home from jail, did time. You understand me? It's like, yo, bro. It's like, yo, bro, so we really gotta do better, son. I'm seeing these dudes sitting with Whack 100. What the heck does Whack 100 has to do with anything righteous, bro? I thought you were not supposed to be around. And I'm going based on what the Bible says. Now, if you're not following the Bible and you just regular niggas just operating with pure meekness and love, then I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And I support that, and I respect that, and I stand for that. But you niggas is not on that type of time. You niggas is really out here preaching the Bible, bro. You preaching the Bible, but yet you in a room full of killers and gangsters and drug dealers and former convicts. Like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing, fam? Like, what kind of message are you trying to bring forth to the so-called people? This don't look like something righteous. And then they on this shit talking homosexuality, and here this nigga Whack 100 being an instigator, playing both sides of the field like Johnny Brasco. You know what I'm saying? Here one nigga is like, hold on. Yo, bro, yo, cat. Yo, what's up? What's this I'm hearing? The fact that he got your number on speed dial lets me know something is up, bro. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he got your number on speed dial let me know something is up, bro. Like I said, man, these niggas is just here to be seen, bro. It's all about being seen. It has nothing to do with righteousness and preparing people for this so-called kingdom, because these niggas know that the kingdom that they're talking about is right here, right now. That's why they're able to make lucrative income off this foolish nonsense. Because the kingdom is right here, right now. These niggas know that. But our people don't know that. We over here sleeping, allowing these people to mislead and misguide us, talking pure madness and foolery, bro. Like, yo, son, come on, my niggas. Y'all niggas can't be sitting here thinking that we supposed to be on some righteous type of time, and you over here listening to Whack 100. You in a room with Whack 100. I thought you guys were supposed to be the leaders of the righteous. The righteous not supposed to be in a room full of wicked, especially if you know that you're not going to be able to convert them into the ideology, especially if you know you're not going to make them start keeping the commandments and whatnot. How the heck are you now walking with these niggas like these niggas is one? You niggas in the back room speed dial. I'm looking around like, yo, this is why I'm so happy I left that joint, bro. I'm so happy that how shit played out. And yo, bro, and even now that I'm sitting back and I'm replaying everything that transpired to this very moment, I know this thing was ordained by the ancestors, bro. This joint was ordained by the ancestors. Look. How can I defend something like this? I cannot defend something. Somebody came to me like, yo, son, you say you're a Hebrew, so what your man and them doing? What your man and them is doing on no jumper talking rah rah. What's up with that? And what I'm gonna tell them? I'm gonna tell them, oh, yeah, that's another camp. But we supposed to be a nation. Yeah, but you know them. These brothers is off. That's all we keep saying. Yo, man, these brothers is off. They don't know what they teaching, man. They doing this. They doing that. Is the niggas really off, or is the entire thing off altogether? And that's what it is. It is off altogether. This entire shit is a joke, bro. How don't you notice that the ones that's upholding the 6-pointed stars and the one that's calling on Yahweh, Yahushua, Yahakaka, and the Fufus and the Kakas? Don't you notice that they are the ones that made it on no jumper? You know who the no jumper nigga is, right? You know Adam. You know what I'm saying. You know his dad is a Freemason. You know the Hebrew Israelite comes from Freemasonry. You guys know this, right? You guys are aware of this, right? I mean, I gotta sell it to you the way that you need it to be sold. You guys are aware of this, right? You guys are able to pay attention and say, "Well, hold on, this don't make no sense." What is a word of God, the righteous of all righteous, the Bible and the Bible readers and the messengers? What the heck do they have to do with no jumper? Why are they there? Why are they getting interviews? Why are they continuously being invited to come up? Why? Come on, man. You got to make these things make sense, bro. And a lot of you guys are not making it make sense. You sitting here being misled, bro. All of it is being misled. They're attacking us in all fronts, pimping. In all fronts, we being attacked, bro. In all fronts, we being attacked. And nobody is putting the pieces together. Nobody's saying, wait, hold on. What is this going on? What is that going on? Nah, everybody's just following suit. Yep. And then you realize you're being misled. You realize you're being misguided. You realize that you're being led astray. You guys are aware of this, right? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like I said, man, all of these things is proven. I got the Masonic Bible. It says it says the exact same thing that the King James say. There's nothing different. Straight out of Oxford. It's nothing different. They teach the same thing. I know a grand wizard or grand master, whoever they want to call themselves, who was telling me, like, yeah, we read the King James, but we get a different understanding from what you get. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't teach what they teach you guys in the church. I'm like, oh really? Like, yeah. Interesting. Like, yeah, we don't teach what you guys learn in the church. What you guys learn in the church is something that we don't teach. We don't teach that. But you read the King James Bible, is that of course. So what the point that means is, you know what I'm saying, is that the book is designed to give you 50 trillion different interpretations and reasons behind it. That's what the book is. And any word of God, the word of God should be as simple as day. The word of God shouldn't be confusing. It shouldn't be 10,000. It shouldn't be 10,000 impersonations of the word of God. It should just be straightforward, simple, straight to the point. Yeah. It's supposed to be just like that. Not supposed to be like, oh yeah, so this means this. You gotta read that and then put it with that. They told you that to keep everybody in a state of confusion. But when you read the book, you actually read it, bro, this joint is literally giving you a story. You know what I'm saying? It's got an intro, it got a body, and it got a conclusion. Literally. It got an intro, it got a body, it got a conclusion. And depending on which Bible you get, you can get a full summary behind it. You could get commentating behind it. All of it's the same, bro. It's the same. When you read the Bible, it gives you a title, it gives you an intro, it gives you a body, and then it gives you a conclusion. But yet they tell you that you got to read it in a different aspect. They say you got to read it like this. You got to understand it like that. That you might read something here, might read. That's what they want you to believe, because when you are in that state, you're gonna take it and believe every nonsense, and you're gonna be confused. And when the confusion comes or the contradiction comes, they'll give you another precept to divert you away from addressing this contradiction. I know. I used to teach it, and I used to also ask. And when I seen that it was getting out of hand, and when I see the stuttering after the responses, wait, hold on, bro. You sound very unknowledgeable when it comes to this question right here. And these dudes are carrying titles. Like, these dudes carrying titles as bishops, deacons, elders. These dudes is carrying high ranked titles, and yet they don't understand the Bible whatsoever. And if you don't understand the Bible whatsoever, you shouldn't be carrying these titles. You should just be a sheep like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? When they walked up to Christ, they said, Master, Master. He said, why do you call me? He said, why you call me good? He said, Master, good master. He said, why you call me good? He said that. So even the people knew, in order for you to be in a position to teach, you had to become a master. These dudes are not masters, because every day they're like, yeah, man, we still learning. We still upholding. We still trying to figure out. You know. Like, so if you're still trying to figure out, then you can't be a so-called master. I mean, a so-called elder. You can't be a bishop. You can't be a deacon. You cannot be any one of those positions. You got to just be a goddamn sheep like everybody else. You a sheep trying to seek the shepherd. You understand? You a sheep trying to seek the shepherd. That's just what it is. And that's just what it is. You understand? And it's sad that we are in this condition right here and we're not even paying attention. We don't pay attention that the Bible is literally a story. Go look up, go on ChatGPT and say, where does this saying, the greatest story ever told, where does that come from? What does that align with? What does that connect to? What's it going to connect to? You'll be shocked to see what it connects to. See, the people that wrote it knew exactly what it was designed to do. It wasn't designed to liberate. It wasn't designed to elevate. It wasn't designed to do anything but to control. And who gains all the beneficiary of this control? The Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholics. So you're telling me that they stole our work. And I'm speaking mainly for these so-called black Hebrews, the wannabe Bantus. So you're telling me they stole our work and created this phenomenon that nobody can break out of. Nobody can break out of it. They stole our work and nobody can break out of it. You got to make that make sense, Pimpin. They stole our work and nobody can break out of it. Yeah, you got to make that make sense, Pimpin. I'm sorry. But if you want us to follow something like that, nah, you're going to have to provide more information than just telling us that they stole it from a Dead Sea and that, you know, the original writings was in this nature and we spoke it and they stole our language and they did this, they did that. But here we are how many years? The Hebrew Israelite teaching's been in America for over 100 and something years. And yet not a single soul can speak fluent Hebrew. So we got all this awakening. I want you guys to process that. We got all this awakening. We're keeping the commandments now. We're keeping the feast days. We're calling God by his Hebrewic name. We're calling God by his Hebrewic name, excuse me. And yet nobody have yet spoken any jot of Hebrew, bro. Come on, guys. You have to make that make sense, people. And when you ask that question, you know what we're told? Well, you know, when God returns, he's gonna give us a new tongue. Dummies. He did. It's called English. When he came and he conquered, the new language that was uphold to the people was English. People wasn't speaking English in Africa. People wasn't speaking English in the Middle East. People wasn't speaking English in China. That was the language. That's the language that he said he was going to come in. He was going to introduce you guys with a new tongue. That's the language. That's the new tongue, English. Ta-da! They tell you that English is the youngest language to man. Ta-da! That's where. Y'all gotta make it make sense. You guys gotta make it make sense. You guys are waiting for a kingdom that already arrived. The kingdom of Jesus is here. Whatever you waiting for, you're gonna be mad when you live your entire life and die and nothing happens. When you live your entire life and no prophecy took place. When you live your entire life and nothing, and I repeat, nothing happened. And you sat there and then you feeding your children this, and then your children is going to be waiting for them to be disappointed, and then your grandchildren is going to get it for them to be disappointed. Our entire existence has been based on an assumption that led to a disappointment, a fulfillment of a prophecy that have yet to be fulfilled thousands of years later. You guys are waiting for something that already arrived. You got to understand, from the minute Christ came into this earth, guys, from the minute Christ came into this earth and told you guys what was going to happen, guess what, guys? It happened. It arrived. It's here. Fully functionable. It's here. There's no parking on this block. But of course, no parking. But of course, it's crazy. But of course, I'm parking right here. But of course. But of course, guys, no parking. I'm in Elmhurst. I'm in Queens, guys. You know what I'm saying? You guys are waiting for a kingdom that already arrived from the minute Jesus told the disciples that his kingdom came. His kingdom came, is fully functionable. I'm over here worrying about that. Hold on. His kingdom came, is fully functionable, is operating. His image is everywhere. Image everywhere. Whether you believe it or not. Don't let these black people tell you, yeah, that's a false image. No, that's the image. That's the only image. Everything else is just interpretations, bro. You go ahead and believe, oh, fine as brass, like it was burnt in the furnace. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that. Because the book of Revelation, oh man, you know what? I'll leave that for another time, bro. I'll leave that for another time. Because you guys know exactly what I'm saying, but it's because you guys are still under the state of delusion. You guys can't see. I'm gonna go knock this out, guys. But listen, check this out. I will be on later on tonight, probably like 7ish, 8ish. Matter of fact, let me not give you guys this promise, because my little brother came up from Florida, and I was just with my big brother yesterday, and we might see if we can all three link up and sit down, get a drink or something, conversate, and figure out a master plan. If I don't, I would definitely be on Sunday, because I got to do the podcast for Sunday. Monday, I'm gonna see what my Mondays look like. But yeah, I got you. Or but anyway, support the movement. We outside ROD Pod. Let me go knock this out. I want to see what's up in this hospital, and then we off this. Peace.